All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Really excited for today and have an awesome guest joining us today out in London, England. And so you'll hear a cool UK accent from her. And we have Holly Husler, who has an awesome last name for an entrepreneur, especially. And just excited to vibe with her today. I came across Holly's Instagram page not too long ago, and I was told her I was looking at different sound healers and just awesome humans that I thought would be fun to vibe with and have conversations with. And reached out and asked her, actually reached out to your husband as well. After I didn't know you guys were connected until after we connected, and then yeah, then I gave him an invite too. So we might connect as well. But I'm excited to flow some cool energy with Holly today. She is a sound healer, yoga teacher, singer, writer. I'm sure I missed some other things. Like she's does lots of awesome things. Just basically shares awesome vibes with people and uplifts people and helps people. And that's what we're gonna do today. So without further ado, for me, I want to introduce you guys to Holly. And if you could share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, why you do it, all these good things.
Oh gosh, where do I begin? Okay, so I mean, I've never really had a conventional career path, I guess. I started singing, a long, long time ago in the shower, where everyone's good at singing in the shower. It's probably where it started for me, and I thought I had a good voice back then. And then I did karaoke with a friend, and she told me that I could sing. And I thought, okay, cool, that confirms it then. I think I can sing. So I went to a pretty academic school, actually, where that side of me wasn't really nourished. So I was always so into the dancing, the singing, the music, but I was kind of encouraged to go to this very academic school, which was great because I got good grades and stuff, but I didn't ever feel that I really was doing what I wanted to do. So ended up going to university to study English, and again came out of it just, you go through that time of feeling really lost, and you feel like you're not really sure what you're doing with your life. So I went and escaped, and I travelled the world a little bit, but all to escape what I needed to kind of come back and face and work out who I was and what direction I wanted to go in. And music just dipped in and out of my life in various different ways, throughout my whole life. So, just started off, singing to Barbie girls lined up against the wall when I was really young, and did loads of little shows and performances for my friends and family. And then it evolved into, after university, I'd come back from travelling, and I was thinking to myself, God, what am I going to do? I actually did start teacher training to be a secondary school teacher, and I tried it for 3 months, and I didn't get on with it. I just, when you sat there and you know that you're embarking on the wrong path, and I really felt strongly that wasn't my path. And I remember I was supposed to be going back to New Zealand after coming home from travelling with my then boyfriend. We were supposed to go out and do a ski season, so we were all excited about that. But got home, had a wobble, and I thought, I feel like I really need to just, start on something here. I was only 22 at the time, but just having one of those wobbles. And I remember thinking, God, what would be my absolute dream job in the whole world? And so I just typed into Google girl band auditions. I was like, that would be really cool to be in a girl band. And I remember it so clearly. The first thing that popped up on Google was looking for the last member of an up-and-coming girl band, preferably blonde, preferably 19 to 24, preferably around 5'5". And I was like, tick, tick, tick. And those moments where you just know something's going to happen to you. And at the time, I was never really a meant-to-be person. I didn't particularly believe in fate or, this is my destiny or anything like that. But I really, really felt, I knew in that moment that was going to be, it was going to be a new chapter. I was going to get the part, and that life was going to change. It felt terrible for the boyfriend, but I went to the audition thinking, this would be a dream job. And long and short of it, I got on really well with the girls. I knew the part was mine, and then the manager called me that afternoon and offered me this part in the girl band. So I was just so over the moon, as you can imagine. It was a dream come true. Because I've never really, I was in the musical theatre society at university and stuff. But I feel like I'd never really, I was still young, but I felt like I had such a long way to go with singing, and I really wanted to explore that part of myself. I'd always been a little bit afraid to do. So I thought, this is it. I'm gonna be in this girl band. Life's gonna be amazing. And anyway, the boyfriend at the time wasn't massively supportive. He wanted to go to New Zealand, and it ended up that we just ended up going our own separate ways in the end. But yeah, then I had this incredible journey in this girl band for 3 years. Proper cheesy pop music, but made the best of friends. We did some really cool things. We toured with a well-known Irish band called Westlife. We did the UK and Ireland tour with them. Performed on some amazing arenas like the O2 Arena, which was an absolute life-changing moment for me. I just remember being on the stage and just looking out at 20,000 people who were not there for us, but I was pretending at the time that they were. We were just the support band. And yeah, I just remember feeling like, my God, this is just one of these life moments that I'm just going to cherish in my heart forever. Singing and performing on stage with your best friends was just magical. So that came to an end after 3 years. Nothing, I never wanted the fame, actually, funnily enough. It was never about that for me. I always find fame actually a little bit of an awkward concept. Especially if the goal is to be famous rather than to do the thing you're passionate about, if that makes sense. We had the tiniest taster of it in the band, in the sense that we had a little fan group, and they would sort of follow us around places, and one of them even got a tattoo of our girl band name, and I really tried to discourage that. But yeah, they'd throw things at you. They're like, we love you, and they really adore you, which is gorgeous. But at the same time, I remember thinking it's just odd because you don't know me. You've never really asked me any questions about myself. We don't have a friendship, so it all felt a little bit hollow in a way. But nonetheless, it was just an amazing experience, and I really did have the best time with them. But it did come to an end, and that was quite a hard, sad time in my life, really, because we all sort of, the management team were, I won't go too much into it, but we fell out with the managers, and we ended up just deciding to call it a day. And so then I had no money coming in whatsoever, and I was living in London at the time. And I'd also entered into quite a party lifestyle, I have to be honest. So it was that kind of crazy fast-paced life, where I was often not sleeping at the weekends, going out, doing crazy things, and it ended up me just being completely broke, living in London. I broke up with a boyfriend, this was another guy a couple of years down the line as well. So it wasn't in the best of places, and I remember standing in Tesco's actually looking at the food aisle, thinking, I don't know how I'm going to eat dinner tonight. I think I had £3.40 in my bank. But I realised you didn't ask my whole life story. But
well, I'm going to share something because you just inspired me a couple times there. It's important, and especially as we're always, evolving in life and our personal lives and the collective. And what's interesting is how a lot of times it happens, almost all the time, where it's unpredictable, like the synchronicities of life, and like you weren't expecting to all of a sudden, and I love the question that you asked as far as what would I really like to do, and that is such a great question for any of us to be able to ask and to take the inspiration from there, and then not have to figure out exactly what that looks like, but let the synchronicity show up, because you couldn't have predicted that you would see the girl band that was asking for the 5'5" blonde, and between, it was just like perfect synchronicity. And then you took the inspired action, and regardless if that led to like superstardom, like with you, like around the world, and or whatever it led to, like that was like some awesome step of your journey, and it led to lots of other things I can tell. So I love to remind that to the audience, because how we, as humans, we like to have the how and the when and the where and the who, all figured out, and that's just not really. It's not really how life works. We can't really predict all that, and don't need to. So I love that.
But we don't know that
No.
We think the opposite when we're young. We want to know, like, how is this going to happen? When's it going to happen? Then we go into this, like, anxiety turmoil, and we don't understand how when everything's going to happen for us. So I think it's definitely something that you learn along the way. And there's a really lovely quote, actually, by Steve Jobs. I always quote it, how you can't connect the dots looking forward, but you can connect the dots looking back, and you can look back to why you did certain things at the time, why your gut might have led you to that, and what you end up doing is because of so many things that you've done along the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you said when we were younger, like a lot of us, we still have to remind ourselves of that lesson all throughout life. I think that's an ongoing, if we find ourselves trying to figure out all the details, like it's awesome to have, because our life experience, all of us up until today, is why we know what we like and don't like, and what we desire in life, and what we don't desire. And, that's enough to where we can be clear on that as of today and focus our energy and our attention on that. Then, we can allow life to unfold, naturally. And I have it tattooed on me, perfect timing. Like, it's just, this is what I like to remind myself, is like, just let life unfold, like in the timing it's supposed to.
It's like, it's finding that balance between not thinking that everything's going to fall into place for you if you don't take any action, because you have to couple that thinking and that feeling and that manifestation with, like you said, inspired action. And that seems to be the recipe for synchronicities and for guidance to come in. But you can't have the one without the other. You can't just sit on your bum and dream. You actually have to take those footsteps forward. But I think one thing from this whole lockdown period has taught me as well is it's fine to just take that next best step. You don't have to see the whole picture. You just have to put trust in your gut, I suppose, and that little voice that tells you which step to take next, and then just trust that it will fall into place.
Absolutely. A little phrase that I like to be reminded of is just, for all of us, we can do what we can with what we have from where we are. And that's all we can do. Like, we can't do from somewhere other place. We can't, if we don't have, things, like we can't, all of a sudden acquire new skills or talents right this second, but we can take the step that we're on and allow that to be enough. And it's always enough.
And the thing that interests me is, why do we need it so quickly? Like, what is the rush? My dad said to me the other day, it's like, why is everyone bloody rushing around all the time? Like, we're going to be dead in however many years. Like, why do you want to get to the end? Why not just really nourish and nurture the journey and take your time? Because you're going to end up exactly where you're supposed to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That at one time was my very wise words by your dad. That at one time was my greatest weakness by far. It was I call it the "I'll be happy when" syndrome. So always trying to get somewhere, and then you get somewhere. If you happen to get there, because it's really rough actually. If you're unhappy on the entire journey to get anywhere, like anytime soon. But if you do get there, then it's kind of like you're still not that happy and satisfied, because now you want something different, and it's like life can be this like ongoing "I'll be happy when," and when never comes.
I think sadly that's the way that society has wired us. That's what we're kind of programmed to think. Adverts and everything that's going on around us, outside of us, it kind of programs to think we're not good enough or not worthy, and until we've got that thing, we're not going to be happy. So it's sort of built within us to think that way. And so I think there's a lot of rewiring to be done in the world to make us realise that actually there is here and has been all along.
Absolutely. Once we discover that the journey can be an enjoyable one in this moment, all the way through, like if we allow it to be, what I've learned is when we go experience those things that we used to describe as win, like I'll be happy when we do enjoy those things and experience those things, but we were already happy right now and just in a good mood just for no reason, and then we go experience something that we really love, it's even more fun than it could have been, like if we just like were using that thing. Like I notice a lot of people using like self-care and kind of confusing it. I have a definition of self-love, self-care, and they're two separate things, but they go together. But a lot of times people are using self-care things in order to try to feel good on the inside. And I used to do this a lot, all the time. And nothing wrong with that, but it's a different experience when you're already vibrating and, on the inside how you'd like to be. And then you go experience those things that you love. Just a totally different life experience.
It's the other way around, isn't it? It's like, be happy.
Yeah.
Not that the goal always is to be happy, but when you're happy, then you will naturally begin to attract things that are resonating on that same vibration.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm always curious, Holly, with you, because we always like people will tune into these conversations and like we're vibing high and enjoying. And like I told Holly, this is a conversation I would wanted to have with her anyway. And it's just more fun to be recorded and shared so that it can impact others. I know for all of us, like we come into this life as little unconditional loving little babies, and we're not comparing ourselves to other babies, wondering why they're maybe taller than us or cuter than us or whatever the case may be. And then we start to do that, a lot of us. I know we start to do that, a lot of us, as we get into being a kid and wondering, are we enough, and questioning our worthiness and all these things. And then my hope for everyone is that we have the light bulb come on and we remember who we truly are, like what we knew when we were little babies. And for you, how did your light bulb come on, or was it something that it just always stayed on from the time you were a baby all the way through, like you never forgot who you are and you're this wise human that we're talking to now forever?
Is my light bulb even fully on? Because I think where I'm at is I feel like I've got one eye closed, one eye open, or the light bulb on, if you want to call it that, and then the other eye is kind of like half shut and sort of slowly opening, if that makes sense. That's the way I see it. And I think I'm
very humble description.
What's that?
It's a very humble description.
I feel like obviously still evolving, definitely not there, and never, I don't think will we ever get again back to that there thing, but it's I guess we're here to learn and grow and go on that journey of light bulb moments. I don't think maybe it's just one moment that happens, but it's a series of different things that wake you up and keep helping you to remember who you are. I'm not sure if you ever get to that final state. Maybe that was Buddha and Jesus, and
always ongoing for all of us, for sure.
Yeah, and I always think it would also be quite boring if we were that there, because then there'd be nowhere else to go, would there? It's quite fun working it all out and getting it wrong and actually never really knowing fully the truth of everything. And would you ever really want to know? Because that is like, finding out the magician's trick. Then it all sort of goes a bit grey, and actually the magic is in the journey. But for me, I think when I started waking up, I guess, it was around this time. It was actually right on the brink of coming out with girl band when that all split up, and it actually started with numbers for me. So I started seeing 1111 everywhere, and it became a joke with me and my friends. I knew nothing about spirituality. I always thought, I linked the word spiritual with religious, and I was brought up a Christian, but I was never a practicing Christian. It never resonated with me to think that there was something else, a man in the sky telling us who was going to die and when. That never really sat with me. But then I think it was around that time where I really started to feel things coming to my life to kind of help me on my path. Sort of started seeing this 1111 everywhere, and I put it up on Facebook and I asked, does anyone know what this means? Because it's a joke, I'm seeing it everywhere. And then someone wrote something about it having this spiritual resonance and things are starting to align for you. And I was interested and I researched it. And when I think once you commit to something, you commit to a path and a journey, and you're open and you're curious, then things kind of move into your pathway to help you and move you along. And then a bit further down the line, I found yoga, and that started for me as it does with so many people, started off as a physical thing. I was going through heartbreak at the time, and I wanted something to I wanted to move my body, but also just to find that kind of that calmness and connect with myself as well. And that was really an amazing time, because I found this class. It just didn't seem like a standard fitness class. It actually really took me inside in a journey, and every time I had such a release on the mat. And then I started meditating, and I sort of started down this personal development journey. Did a lot of Tony Robbins. You've heard, Tony Robbins. I listened to a lot of his stuff, and I was just absolutely blown away by him. So I did some of his meditations and affirmations, all that kind of stuff. Really went for it, and my life just really started to change. And then something, I guess my whole concept around what spirituality was really defined around that. Not defined, because that makes it sound like it's complete, and I think it's ever evolving, but it was really shaped around that time. And I started feeling something from within, rather than, when you're brought up a Christian, you're sort of told that there's something outside of you to worship, which is absolutely fine, and I know some people believe that, and that's their truth. But for me, it was hard to believe in something else outside that was sort of controlling everything, So I started, through yoga meditation, I started feeling that there was something inside, like almost like we are the power, we are the God, and we have the power to create. I started realizing that thoughts create and shape our reality. And I put that to practice as well. I started sort of manifesting things and bringing things into my life that I sort of created and written down and consciously manifesting. And I just started realizing, wow, like we're actually really, really powerful as human beings, like more so than, so many of us actually ever realized. And I started playing around with that, and it's just sort of evolved from there, really.
Absolutely. No, I love that the way that you describe just your journey, and I think it's important for all of us to just remember that none of us will ever know it all or be aware of all the secrets of the universe or any of this stuff, nor do we need to be. And so it's just a constant evolution. And whenever I mention having the light bulb on, what I always mean is us being able to consciously know that we're evolving and to be open for new things to come into our awareness, and to know that's a never-ending journey. Like when we're doing that on purpose, and we know that there's still new things to discover and to learn, and we're not like closed off thinking that we know it all or we can't learn from anybody unless they're a celebrity or they're in the field that we are in, or whatever the case may be, that we can have new awareness come from anywhere, anyone, anytime. That's awesome, because it's a never-ending journey. So I'm always curious to see how people evolve, because then it's obvious that was the case for you, because look at how many different areas of life it's evolved in for you, like where you have yoga, and I'm super curious to know like how sound sound healing plays in. And I know a lot of people aren't as aware of aware of the power of that, and how that looks, and everything else that you do. It's all genres to where it uplifts your vibe. For one, I'm sure that's probably how it started, and then you wanted to start sharing it and uplift other people's vibe. Is that kind of how it went?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, oh God, sound healing. It's changed my life, honestly, in the way that it's definitely lifted my consciousness and taken me to different places. And I loved music for a while, actually. After the girl band, I saw myself as a bit of a failure. Like in hindsight, I know that it wasn't like that, but at the time when you're in it, I felt, I'd failed, and I tried a few things with different DJs and producers and did some solo singing stuff. But again, it didn't feel quite right. It was sort of housey, dancey music. It was great at the time, but I couldn't make it work. So I kind of gave up on it for a while, and it broke my heart. I just felt, I just sort of put it to the back burner and thought I'll concentrate on something else. But music always had a way of finding its way back. Just kept giving me these little nudges, like, oh, come back, you're supposed to be here with me, and we're supposed to do something together. So yoga led me to sound healing. So obviously it's in the wellness and yoga industry. And I went along to my first sound journey, sound bath. There's so many different names for it, but I went to my first sound bath. And that's the thing, how can you not love just going in and lying down and have these crystal bowls being played to you, and just, doing absolutely nothing but relaxing, receiving. I thought that sounds absolutely gorgeous. And actually, really girly thing. The reason that attracted me to them to it in the first place was I looked at these crystal bowls on this girl's Instagram I followed, and I thought, oh my God, they're so pretty, all these rainbow colours. I was like, I want to be near them. So that was a big reason why I went as well. But then the sounds that were coming from them, my God, it transports you to another place. You just feel And everyone will obviously have a completely different experience. Some people will get on with it and other people won't, find it uncomfortable. But you feel these vibrations just wash over you and through you. You can feel your whole skin tingling. It's like this. It is like a bath of sounds that just sort of go right into your soul. And I think the idea is it takes you away from your ego, your thinking mind, which is where we are so much of the time. And it has this way of just dropping you down into this other place, into your your higher self, your intuition, your soul, whatever you want to call it. And then you sort of tap into this inner resource of wisdom. That, I guess, that came further down the line for me. But at the time, it was just this beautiful, ethereal experience. And it's actually the day after. I remember really clearly. It was a Sunday, and it was a really sunny day. And I was lying on the sofa, and it was about 24 hours after, and I felt just like someone had pressed an internal reset button and lifted all the shit out of my life. I knew it was still there, but it felt like everything was manageable. When you get that real crystal clear clarity, like silt had been lifted from my system. Like I'd had a deep inner cleansing almost. And then I went again, and then it happened again. So I pieced the two and two together. I thought, oh my God, this stuff actually really works. The sound is really powerful. And I thought, I'm already in the yoga industry. I would love to weave this into my practice and into my teaching and help other people with this as well. And it really grew from there. And the minute I committed to getting one of these stunning alchemy crystal bowls, it entered me and accelerated and opened up all these doors. And it was really then that I felt, yes, this is where you're supposed to be. And this is that you're on the right path, and now you're here to serve the world through sound and music, and essentially just to raise people's consciousness and vibration, help people back to themselves, to remember who they are, and that I feel at the moment is my purpose through sound and music.
I love it. I want to share something with the audience that it's pretty cool to be aware of, and it's what's awesome about being alive here in 2020. Is when we talk about like energy and frequency and vibration, like this in 2020 can actually be measured now scientifically. I've been to events where I've had not only the EEG like brain like scanners on to where I could see energy in the moment. They can also measure energy from our hearts. They can measure the energy of a whole room. Like I've been in rooms of a couple hundred people where they literally measure like throughout like meditation and different things like the energy of the room, and we could like see all this. So like what used to sound like kind of far out there, maybe 20, 30, 40 years ago, now is like can be measured. And what happens when it comes to sound, because sound is so awesome when you're playing those bowls, like if we were to measure like those frequencies, and like if you're in there and you're experiencing those and you're present to them, where you're not thinking about other things that you got to do tomorrow or how it was a rough day earlier, but you're just like tuned into those frequencies, and you allow those to become your frequency because that's what you're present on. That's the feelings that Holly is describing, because from those frequencies, like we can have just awesome like thoughts and ideas and just feelings, and just you can go to places that you didn't even know existed because of what energy you're in that moment. And so that's why I find fascinating about sound healing, because once we feel frequencies that maybe we didn't even know were there, or we can get there, then we know that they exist and we can go back to them. It may be during sound healing, maybe just walking out in nature, maybe just sitting in your house. But once we know that energy is there and frequency is there, it's like it kind of opens up a new world to us.
Yeah, it's funny as well because it's all about the language you speak. Because in the industry that I'm in, a lot of people still don't know what sound healing is. A lot of people will think it's this hippy dippy woo woo shit, which it definitely half of it is. But it's all about the language you use, because it's also science. And I always say, I explain it as it's based in science, because it talks about its energy, its frequencies, its vibrations. They're all scientific terms, and it's been proven that it does change the cells and vibrations in your body. But it's also mixed with a little bit of woo-woo and magic as well, because it does connect you with, whatever, your higher self, your soul. So it's the two things combined together, which is what I love so much. But yeah, there's science behind it, so it's not just made up shit. And even if there isn't, I always say the proof is in the experience. Just come and experience it, feel it for yourself, if it's going to do the job and relax you and calm you and make you more conscious, then surely that's proof enough anyway. But some people need the stats and the figures.
Well,
and there's definitely more research going into it as well.
For sure. I'm gonna plant I'll plant a seed, and you guys can call it woo-woo seed if you want, but I'll plant a seed, whether this resonates with you now and you take it with you, or it doesn't resonate and you leave it here, and maybe it resonates later on down the road. Whenever we are in an energy or a frequency where we would just describe it as this feels good, in those moments we are being who we truly are. We're connected with our higher self, God, universe, love, all that is, spirit, source, whatever you want to call it. Those are the moments where we can have awesome, like, synchronistic ideas, like that's when life is in the flow. Like when you call yourself in the flow, in the zone, like that's who we truly are. Like that's what we knew when we were unconditional loving little babies. And so it's just, sound healing, like, and sound meditation, sound baths, and like so many other things are awesome tools for us to be able to connect with who we truly are. And there's so many different ways that we can do it. So yeah, I always love to plant that seed, because once we're aware of that, and we can start to enjoy being connected, and it's only in the moment, so it doesn't matter. Like I call this conversation enlightened conversations, because I knew in the moments of this conversation we would be playing at a place of connected. We'd be connected. We would be flowing things out that are the intention is to empower and uplift. And so in those moments you are enlightened, and in the moments where you're frustrated and worried and anxious, like we'd have to call this anxious conversations. So it's just not what it's always in the moment.
You know what? It always blows people's minds that actually our natural state is balance, peace, harmony, joy. That's who we naturally are. We're just buried under these layers of stress, worries, fear. All this stuff that is put on us from the outside. But it's about finding tools, like you say, to kind of just dig underneath of those layers and eventually find your way back to your home, back to yourself. Yeah, exactly.
I love it. And anytime we can remind someone, and for those of you out there that already are aware of this, just continue. If you want to help other people be aware of this, just be the example of it. Like that's the best way that any of us can help other humans, is be the light. That's why that term, be the light you want to see in the world. Like that's not just cliche. That means by you being the light, because we're all just different expressions of that same light, you're reminding everybody else that is witnessing your light who they truly are as well. And then that reminder can inspire them to go start being the light, and then that can start a ripple effect. And so
I have to say, this is something that I have struggled with a lot of my life, actually. When I was younger, I was quite like a loud, performing child, and I think that I was told quite often to stop showing off. So I think, in your formative years before 7, that really sticks with you, stuff like that. And unfortunately, not unfortunately, because I think it's just something that has been one of my challenges that I've had to just overcome, has been almost feeling guilty for shining or for trying to shine too bright, which is ridiculous, because as you say, the world needs more light, more people that empower other people to shine bright, because that's who we are. So I'd say just don't ever let guilt or fear of people not liking you or any of that get in the way of shining bright, because that's what we're here to do. It's like our birthright to share our gifts and our light with the world. So yeah.
So true, so true. None of us can shine our light and feel guilt and shame and anxiety at the same time. So you have to choose.
No.
To choose in the moment, which you would like to shine, because we're always going to shine something in the moment. We get to choose what. I love this. So right now, here we're recording this. We are, oh my gosh, are we in the beginning of June, in the middle of June? I don't know where we are. I think we're approaching the middle of June. The life is just continuing to go. Interesting time in the world right now, in human history for sure. I'm curious, like, what you're excited about right now. Like, how is life evolving for you, and what would you like to see as far as life evolving for humanity, and what's going on in Holly's world?
It's a crazy time at the minute. I was talking to my students this week about how we've had the bushfires at the beginning of the year. We've had now the coronavirus, everything that's happening with the Black Lives Matter. It seems to be one thing after the other at the minute. But this really is a year of transformation, I think, and transformation and change is never going to be easy and smooth. So, although there's a lot of pain and discomfort and fear and anxiety in the world at the moment, I really believe that this is exactly where we're supposed to be. I think that this is a year where we're required to really individually go within, get still. This is maybe why we've been given this opportunity to take a universal pause and be inside so that we can actually do the inner work, see what needs to heal within ourselves, so that we can shine our light to the world, so that we can heal ourselves and then bring that energy and that vibration out to the world. Because how can we help to make any kind of positive change if we're only looking outside, wanting things to be different, but not actually realizing that it all starts within, and everything that we see on the outside is something that exists within us. So I think this is why there's so many more healers around. The sound healing is coming into fruition. There's more yoga teachers than ever, because the world needs these people to help people that maybe are not so aware to understand that it starts with us. So it's exciting, even though it's a difficult time at the moment. It's exciting because I know that there's going to be massive positive change. I really believe that. I do. I think that things get worse before they get better. But I have faith in the world. I have faith in humanity. And I think that slowly we will make a turnaround. And for me personally, I feel absolutely blessed to be someone that gets to be, someone that helps people back to themselves, back to light, I hope, back to the truth of who they are, so that, I feel blessed to be someone that gets to make a difference in that way, whilst being authentic and doing it in a way that feels true to me, teaching yoga and sound healing and music, whilst doing my inner work at the same time as well. So that's where I'm at the moment.
I love it. I want to hit on something that you just inspired me to share, and it's a perfect time to be sharing this when it comes to what we're all seeing in the world, or any time that we're seeing anything that is already physically manifested. And so, anything that already exists in this world, if we think about it, we're looking at past tense energy. This energy that's already been put into the creation of whatever this is, whether it be something going on in society, whether it be a relationship, whether it be something with health, whether it be a financial, it's already manifested. And so it's not possible for us to take something that's already manifested and unmanifest it. That's not how creation works. It's creation. We have to create something in addition, create something new. And so it's okay to notice what's going on, and we can't help but notice because it's here. It's right in front of our face, what's going on in the world. So we see it, and maybe it's difficult to see, maybe it's difficult to look at. I'm sure that most of us would agree that there's things that go on that are difficult to look at. And at the same time, from seeing those things, we now have a desire to see something different. We're like, I don't want to see that. I don't like that relationship. I don't like that, we're treating each other this way. I want to see this. And then, from there, it's those that can do what Holly just described, because the only way that we can start to create new energy of what we want to see is to embody that energy now. We have to be the light, be the change that we want to see in the world. And so we take the already past manifested, the things that are here now, use it as fuel to say, okay, this is what I would like to see. We become that version that we want to see now. And then that's when all the synchronicities of how, when, where, who's going to be involved, the ideas on how to actually create change come. And the way that we create anything new is by embodying it and flowing inspired action, intention, and energy. And now we create something new, and then we keep moving from there. And so it's just great to be reminded of that always, because pushing against, always continuing to focus on what's already manifested, we're putting additional energy, and we're going to create more of that. If you fight hate with hate, then what do you get more of? You get more hate. It's
I think it's important to also say that it's not all love and light all the time. We're definitely not in a place of love and light in the universe at the moment on Earth. And this is something I've really been guilty of my life, is looking, as you say, looking away and kind of rejecting the shadows, thinking I just want to be happy, I want to be there all the time, not looking at the parts of ourselves that actually perhaps we don't like, and not being willing to, outside and inside. I've been guilty of turning off the news, not wanting to look at the papers, not wanting to see what's going on in the world. But then I've kind of recently made the connection that means I'm not looking at parts of myself that I haven't wanted to see as well. And how can we help the world to heal if we're not willing to go there and, you know, look inside and see what needs to be worked on here. So I think it's not about love and light all the time. It's about working towards wholeness. You know, it's yin and yang, balance, isn't it? You need the dark times to have the light as well. And it's about really, as you say, embodying and embracing it as a whole. Working together to get there.
Absolutely, absolutely. None of us would know what we consider to be, you know, good or what we desire if we hadn't experienced some things that we would consider to be not so good or, you know, undesirable. So
Exactly.
it's definitely all part of the human experience. What I care about most is that we have the awareness to actually go and create the reality that we would like to see.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, and the times in my life where I feel and where I felt most, you know, uneasy and not so good is in those times of confusion, where it's like I'm just confused about the direction I want to go. Like I'm trying to figure out the hows and the whens and all the details that typically make us anxious. And so I know there's a lot of people on the planet right now that feel very confused about, you know, how to create what it is that they would like to see. And it stems from not having the awareness of actually the process of creation, which we're going to only create where we place our attention is where we put our energy, and you put energy on anything long enough, it will physically manifest. And so I like to simplify things and say any of us looking at something unpleasant are probably going to feel unpleasant. Nothing wrong with that. Now it's like, okay, let's get excited about what we want to see and let's start manifesting that, which we're all coming together.
People don't realize how powerful thoughts are, because thoughts are just energy that just gets sent out into this big energy field. You know, thoughts and words and actions, it's all energy and it's all powerful stuff. And so it's important to, as you say, not focus on the things that you don't want, because you're just going to end up creating more of it. And by creating, because thoughts pick up momentum, the more you think about it, the more energy you're giving it, the more this sort of spiral of momentum happens, gets sent out. And then, like you say, you end up creating more of the things that you think about and focus on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, important to keep your thoughts where you want to, with what you want to bring into your reality.
Holly, you just teed me up for this, and I'm excited to say this because this is becoming commercially popular around the world right now. And I'm going to give an alternate perspective. And you just teed me up beautifully for this. I've started to hear the phrase used, it's not enough to not be racist. We have to be anti-racist. And I've challenged that and say, well, how about we be pro-love, pro-together, pro-connected, pro-one, pro-loving, pro-accepting, pro-life, the life that we want to see, and we start putting our attention and our energy on what we want to see versus anti-anything is going to only create more of that. It's just, you can't, it doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. We're putting more attention on the racism and trying to fight against it, which only causes more strife and struggle and strain. And so I've said that on the last, whenever it's come up, like whenever something comes into my attention, I'm like, I want to just give an alternate perspective. You can have whatever perspective you want out there. I'm just saying that it's a lot more light and you're more connected with the answers for what you want when you're asking from a place of empowered versus disempowered, like fighting against versus, you know, how can I create something new?
I guess it just takes more people like you to get these perspectives across to, you know, it might just spread to one other person and that might change their perspective. Then they might pass that on to one other person. So it's just about, I think, just doing the best that we can, given the tools and the, you know, the knowledge of the world that we already currently have. We can't do any more than that, can we? So I guess the anti-racist thing is maybe a step in the right direction, because at least there's some awareness behind the issue now, whereas perhaps there wasn't enough before. But still not completely on track. But like you say, it's a journey of evolving, isn't it? And I hope that it's gradually going the right way. You know, and all we can do is our best and help to change as much as we can.
Absolutely. No, I love being alive right now with all of you guys in 2020, because it's fun to have this technology and be able to connect and collaborate so easily. And yes, it's definitely something. I had a thought, you teed me up again, and then my mind went into a left turn like it normally is. It's going to come back. I never fully lose trains of thought, because I just stay in the energy that the thought came from, and it just pops back in.
it.
But no, I'm super excited for everybody that right now is even taking the time to just even get clear on what it is that they would like to see in their own lives or for humanity, and that's an awesome first step. And from there, it's just a matter of just being that now, living that now, not needing that in order to feel the result of having that happen. Like, if you guys think about it, like any of the things that we want to see in the world, like if we want to see a world that we're connected, or we're feeling love for each other and all these things, like we want all of these things because we feel like it's going to be a more awesome, fun, like world to live in if we have those things. So if we just start living awesome and fun and like being loved now, then we can come together and actually create the things that we want to create. So
do you know what? This is what needs to be taught in school.
For sure.
From the start. Rather than, sod the maths. We need to be taught how to, create consciously, and how to be kind and compassionate, and how to build solid relationships, and how to not bully. Like, these are the valuable things in life, not, it's balance, isn't it? But I'd love to see more mindful things in school.
That's another one that I see a lot of and I just remembered what I was going to say, which is going to be super. This will give everybody hope as far as, I wonder if this could really happen. I'll share with you guys because it's a really good example that I used yesterday in a conversation, and first time I'd ever used it, but it applies so beautifully because you guys will see it's kind of silly that we even will question that this is going on. But just real side note, when you said the anti-bullying movement, that's another one where it's like, let's start a togetherness, a pro acceptance, like what we want to see. Because we're just like pushing against, and it's just causing more. Like, let's beat up the bullies. It just doesn't really work. Doesn't really work that way.
It's putting out the wrong energy, isn't it? So I think a lot of people don't get as well that the energy you put out, it comes back. It's a circle. Like that will match the energy you put out, whether it's love and kindness, it will come and smack you in the face again. Same thing, if you're going to put out hate constantly, it'll come right back to you in whatever form. It just does. It's a law of the universe.
Yeah.
But again, another thing that needs to be taught from early on.
For sure. The mind doesn't understand, doesn't want, or not, or anti. Like, you're just feeding it more of that. Like, don't think of an elephant out there listening to this right now. Do not. Whatever you do, don't think of an elephant. Like, there's not one of you that didn't have an elephant pop into your mind right now. It just doesn't work that way. But what I'm inspired to share with all you guys, there was also a time in human history where people thought it was silly that we would use smartphones. They were like, what do I need that for? Like, I can already make calls. I could text. Like, that just seems silly. And I was the dum-dum that was standing in line at 3 a.m. at Apple to get the first iPhone. Like, that was me. When I could have walked in the store and got it, like, the next day, like, very simply. But it was just something that I was excited about. But gradually, more and more people started getting smartphones. And it got to a point where enough of your friends had it. If you were, took your time getting one, enough of your friends had it, you were like, okay, I got to go get, a smartphone. And now, if you heard someone say, like, I don't see why anybody has a smartphone, like, it just seems silly, you look at them like, what's going on with them? Like, they're not heard of, like, apps, and, like, look what we're doing right now. Like, I'm streaming, me and Holly are streaming on Instagram right now. You guys don't realize there's a Zoom recording behind that, streaming on Facebook and YouTube and even Periscope right now at the same time. So now we've just kind of like, okay, well, duh, we're going to have smartphones and all this other stuff. Well, the same thing when it comes to creating the world that we want to see, as we're coming together and deciding that we want to live in a world that's of peace and of acceptance, and knowing that it's not just cliche that we're all connected and we're all one, but that's truly like how it is, not only spiritually, but also scientifically. When we put ourselves under a high-powered microscope, we realize, wow, we're just all different expressions of the same non-physical energy, the same stuff. And so when we realize this, and this becomes more accepted by more and more people, then you have the younger generation looking at that, and that's just the way it is. Like, you can't tell a young kid these days that we used to use a phone at one time that you had to put your finger in the circle and like that. I didn't even use these phones, like the rotary ones, but that existed at one point. And then you had the long cord phones. Like, wait, what do you cord on the phone? Like, what is that? You tell a kid that these days, and like, what are you talking about? So it'll be the same thing with the world that we're creating, but it just starts with deciding what it is that we want to see and creating that versus continuing to push against, what already exists. That's old news. Yeah.
maybe this is just part of the game. Who knows?
Of course.
Maybe you start a love and light go on this little journey through darkness, all these struggles, up and down, searching for things outside you your whole life, wanting everything to be different, and then eventually we come right back to the beginning and realise that, come right back to love and light again. Maybe that's life. Who knows? We never know the truth, are we? But maybe we're supposed to be where we are right now.
Maybe it's all love and light. However, there's times where as humans, we just resist it and don't let the light in. And so in those moments, we need to experience the darkness so that we can appreciate the light and have a clear picture on what light we actually want to experience. It's all beautiful. We need it all. Yeah. We need all of it.
Exactly. Yin and yang.
Yeah, we would get so bored, Holly, if it was just like all rainbows and fairies and like unicorns like all day long. Like if every movie you went to go see, like if the whole time it was just like there was like no drama at all. Like there was just like, all right, another cool scene, awesome. Like I either want to go participate with you guys or I'm tired of seeing this movie.
This is the thing. I think we've been taught that that pain, anger, sadness, frustration. We've been taught that these things are bad. Like they've been given a label as bad. And that happiness, light, joy, blah, blah, blah is good. But there's no good or bad. It just is what it is.
Yeah, it just is.
Angry is not any better or worse than happiness. They're both as valid as each other, and both are going to teach us something, and both are absolutely necessary. You can't push the bad stuff away, because then we're never going to know what it is to feel that joy.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah, it's just a label. It just is. Like there's no one standing behind you saying right, wrong, good, bad. It is. I just love people to just be aware how the world, though, because it is reflecting from within, like you mentioned at the beginning of the episode. I just love for people to be aware of what is reflecting out into the world as a result of what's vibrating inside of us. And it's not like immediate. It's not like you have one thought where it's like you're angry or upset and then immediately you manifest something that you don't want. I mean, it doesn't happen that way. You could have if you leave the house and you're in a crap mood and you're like cussing people out, like you could have some dramatic scenes in your movie today. Like it's highly likely that this part of the scene of the movie called Your Life, where you're the star, it might be one of those drama scenes on the screen where it's like, whoo, I'll be happy when they get to the love part of this story, because this part's rough, So
yeah, exactly. We're just stars in our own movie, aren't we? We get to create the movie.
Absolutely, we're the star. Well, this is awesome. I love this conversation so much. I always want to ask, because you've been sharing just awesome insight the whole time, and someone could tune into this live. If you guys are watching this live, hit the share button. This will definitely impact someone. I don't know how you guys can share this live on Instagram, but this will be on my timeline, and then I'll share it. I'll tag Holly in it and all that good stuff. But on Facebook, hit the share button. You guys can do it easy. That's why I always stream to Facebook, because you guys can easily share stuff. This will impact someone for sure. But I'm curious, because someone could easily tune into this. They probably won't even need a computer screen or a phone. Like 20 years or 30 years from now, there'll be some other technology. Maybe it's just in our mind. We just see a movie screen in the middle of the air or something. But they could definitely tune into this then as well. And just anything that you would want people to know that has impacted you. You've been doing it the whole time, but just want to squeeze any additional juice that wants to come from Holly that could impact someone. But you've been doing it the whole time, which is awesome conversation.
The first thing that just popped into my head was just trust the process. Just take the next best step that you can. Try not to look too far ahead, because it can be overwhelming. I say it to my students a lot, but trust that where you are right now is exactly where you're supposed to be. So that's how I would leave it.
I love it. And regardless of anything, it's where you are. So do what you can do with what you have from where you are, and just know that. And I'll just reiterate, I love that you said that, Holly, because it's so important, because we're looking at things right now as if they're like set in stone forever. Like everything always evolves, everything always changes, and the energy to create what is right now, it's already been given. Like it's already been put in. Like to create this phone, this computer, the chair that I'm sitting in, someone already put energy into creating this. So that's done. Now it's time to go on with our lives, and what do we want to create from here? And that makes it way easier.
Remembering that we have the power to create, so not give the power away to other people, because we have the power to create our own lives the way we want it to be. And that's something that you can hear over and over again from the outside, that you get to the point where you really embody it from the inside, and you realise, so we're powerful creators.
Absolutely. You're awesome, Holly. And for those of you guys that are thinking, this Holly human is awesome, just know that she is a reflection of you. And so
Yeah.
take the energy that you're feeling from her and use that for inspiration to go, put into anything that is important to you. And anytime you're looking at any human, like pointing out anything awesome, or if you're looking at them pointing anything condemning or judging or anything that may not feel so good, just know that that's also what's resonating with you inside right now as well. That's also a current right now reflection of you. And so there's some just good awareness. You can do something about it or not, or you can keep, judging and condemning people all day long. And again, you'll probably have some dramatic scenes in your movie that day. And it's okay because likely the sun will rise tomorrow as well. It's not promised to any of us, but, I like to live like I don't know for sure if I'm going to be here tomorrow. I'm pretty sure we're all going to live to be like 300 watching this live. But just in case we don't, like I'm rooting for you all to enjoy today.
That's good to end.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Holly. I appreciate you and your time and our first co-creation and affirming that we will have additional co-creations in whatever capacity moving forward. I love your beautiful energy out there and looking forward to, I saw your husband tune in a second ago, like briefly on here. So
Yes, I saw him as well.
say hello to you. Adam, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
My...
Hopefully he's making dinner downstairs.
If not, he is now. I love it. I love it.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, thank you guys out there for tuning in. Share this episode and rate and review if you guys haven't already. Appreciate you guys that have. Leave a review. Say that Holly Human was awesome. Say anything that you had new awarenesses, and I'll tag her and make sure that she sees that. I know she'll appreciate that as well. And we'll talk to you guys soon in another episode. I love it. Bye, Instagram world. Hold on, I'm gonna say bye to you, Holly. Cheers, Adam. Awesome. Hold on, I'm gonna say bye to you, Holly. That was perfect timing. Instagram just finished at the same time.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so confusing hearing two sets of my voices.
You didn't hear